Dividend investors need money in order to make money. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do just that. Make more money. You're going to learn why jumping into dividend stocks without the proper investment foundation can be insanely costly to you, what Wall Street's insiders are actually doing versus what they're selling you. And I'll even show you through how you can get started with this dividend investing strategy today so you can grow your net worth exponentially to ultimately reach your financial freedom goals much faster. But there is a word of warning, so we will also look at why this may not be the best idea for you either. Now, before we get to that, let me show you why buying a bunch of dividend stocks out of the excitement of receiving passive income through dividends can really set you back. So back in 2019, I found myself scouring through YouTube, probably just like you are, trying to understand how to make more money. I landed on Andre Jick's channel, thought, wow, this guy is super entertaining. But I also thought that this whole investment strategy of dividend investing looks like the answer to my question. I then took the leap of faith into the world of dividend investing, completely diverging from my single fund portfolio approach, which at that time was with Vanguard's Total Stock Market Admiral Shares Fund, ticker symbol VTSAX. Now, what I really got excited about was passive income, making money for doing nothing. And not only that, but the whole idea of just eventually retiring off of dividends. I honestly just became obsessed. So obsessed that by 2020, when Corona was in full swing, gutting the stock market into the depths of the lows that I personally never experienced, my only thought was to load up on everything I possibly can. After all, diversification is necessary to hedge against monetary loss, and besides, the more dividend stocks I own, the more passive income I received, and ultimately, the wealthier I would be. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that just sounds a little too good to be true. But the thing is, it actually worked. These dividend stocks, all of them generated profits, and the kickback of dividends came my way, flowing in weekly, heck, sometimes even daily. But why then was this completely costly and just insane? Well, for anyone who understands the real meaning behind Buffett's "when the tide goes out, you see who's swimming naked" quote, you'll know that any fool could have invested into literally anything in 2020 and made some solid returns. So perhaps it was me all along, Ari, that was swimming naked here and who was just excited about dividends and overlooked any sort of real process. Now, just before 2021, I heard Bill Ackman make the case that less is really more in terms of being highly selective on the stocks that you construct your portfolio with, and that led me down a rabbit hole of research that then made me really understand why some of Wall Street's legends say that diversification is truly for idiots. So what then did I do? Well, I pumped the brakes entirely. I chucked Andre Jick's channel to the side and others like it, and I started putting my own investment strategy together. It would honestly call for more of a Warren Buffett and Bill Ackman-like approach, where I would become insanely selective about which stocks I would actually invest into. I really started to look to top-tier businesses, companies that were true industry leaders with strong brand names and solid leadership teams, but most importantly, companies that maintain clean balance sheets. That meant little to no debt behind them. But I still had one major issue. My portfolio was fat. Literally, it was overweight with stocks that consumed my capital and offered little to me in terms of a return aside from that measly dividend here and there. Now, if you're overweight, you start to go to the gym to chisel down. Eventually, you're left with a slimmer, leaner, muscular build. And that's how I saw my portfolio. So I just got busy trimming all of the fat away, and now here I am today with 14 positions, including my cash position. That's down from 40 to 50 holdings before. And while I still have some work to do to get to 2 ETFs and 7 to 10 holdings, the results have been insane. I mean, I just wouldn't be sitting on over $221,000 in my brokerage account if I actually didn't make these investment moves. So that is a long-winded way for me to say, before you just invest all over the place in dividend stocks and spread yourself too thin because of the allure of dividend paychecks, think about what you're really trying to achieve here. Now, before I key you into what a lot of Wall Street insiders are doing and what I personally started doing that allowed me to get to where I am today, I actually want to ask for your help directly, especially the roughly 70% of you out there who continue to watch my videos every single week, video to video, but aren't subscribed. Ready for it? Tap on that subscribe button and officially join me here on the channel so I know I didn't make a foolish decision in walking away from my corporate job to pursue this YouTube deal. Now with that, let me also know you're getting value from this video by tapping on that thumbs up button. And of course, I just want to share with you that I have the Wall Street Word, the newsletter that I'm creating right now in the pipelines for you. And I want you to go ahead and subscribe to that newsletter if you're looking for more stock ideas every single week. That link is down there in the description. But with that, where was I? Yes, what all the insiders are doing. Well, it's actually much simpler than you think. They are building investment foundations with the S&P 500. Now, thanks to masters of the market, I've had the privilege of speaking to many Wall Street professionals. And the one common thread that I really noticed between all of them was they're selling products to all of you that are sexy, like the options-oriented 40x your dividend income ETFs, while they're buying the S&P 500. And even when I press them on what they're buying and why they're not buying their own products, they continue to share that the S&P is just unstoppable.
Say, honestly, if it was just $10,000 to invest in the market, I would go for either the S&P or the NASDAQ. So one of those, it doesn't matter really what ETF you pick. Any ETFs on there are all very similar in terms of price and exposure. But one of those two indices, if you're more tech orientated or are comfortable with a higher volatility, I'd go for the NASDAQ. And if you just want broad market exposure to the US, I'd go with the S&P.
Now, in knowing that, you, me, Warren Buffett, or Ray Dalio, or anybody else really can't successfully time the market 100% of the time, well, we ought to just really understand we're average Joes and we're only fooling ourselves by trying to do so. So whether it's up one day and down the next day, the only thing you really got to do right 100% of the time is invest your way into the S&P 500. If you're just starting out, or heck, you're even a few years into this journey like I was, it's not too late to actually go back to the drawing boards with this approach. And it really isn't too complicated. I personally just started building out an investment foundation with Vanguard's S&P 500 fund, ticker symbol VOO, and this is of course just an investment into the 500 largest companies within the United States that really drive the market in one direction or the other on any given day, with a nice spread across industries from technology to financials and healthcare to consumer discretionary and industrials that all come together, with the top holdings working out to Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, Google, Berkshire Hathaway, Broadcom, and Tesla. Now, some of you very well may be sitting out there thinking, well, isn't this a diverse portfolio with just this one fund? I thought diversification was for idiots. And to you, I say, as long as you're not all over the place with your investments, 17 different ETFs, 59 holdings, Dogecoin, gold, and an art collection, diversified, well, VOO will work wonders for you. Now, if you're not convinced that you should be all in on the S&P 500 as your actual foundation to your portfolio, let's do a little compare and contrast. Here we have VOO, and you can see that over the last 5 years, it soared by over 93%. But if we plug in the dividend investors' holy grail SCHD, we're going to see in yellow here that only appreciated by 55%. But what about VYM, which comes in even less than SCHD? But we can also try the dividend growth route with VIG. That only makes up about 68% worth of appreciation. Or how about another popular dividend growth fund, DGRW, which comes in at 84% worth of appreciation? Close, but still no cigar. Now, investors, this is all really just to say, because it's insanely hard to pick the winners 100% of the time, build up your portfolios with an unshakable investment foundation that literally cannot be stopped. And if you're young, don't be so focused on dividends right now, because it's really not about the passive income and dividends for you at this particular moment as much as it should be about growth. However, there's one class of investor that I would absolutely say should seek out the safety and reliability of the SCHDs or VYMs of the world, and that's the investor out there who can even build up a single fund portfolio in these types of funds, which is the investor in retirement or nearing retirement. But now I'd love to know your thoughts here on keeping it simple with the S&P 500 to scale an investment foundation before adding to that foundation with high quality, high conviction stocks on top. Comment down below with all of your thoughts on this strategy or this approach. And if you want to catch some of my never sell stocks, you can find them right here. Till then, I'll catch you in the next one.